Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Kemp, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer of DATAVERSITY. We would like to thank you for joining the latest installment of the monthly DATAVERSITY webinar series, Analytics Architecture, with William McKnight. Today, William will be discussing promising AI use cases for the enterprise in 2025, sponsored this month by Informatica. Just a couple of points to get us started. Due to the large number of people that attend these sessions, you will be muted during the webinar. For questions, we'll be collecting them via the Q&A section. And if you'd like to chat with us or with each other, we certainly encourage you to do so. To open the Q&A panel or the chat panel, you can find those icons in the bottom middle of your screen for those features. And just to know, the chat defaults to send to just the panelists. We may absolutely change that to network with everyone. As always, we will send a follow-up email within 2 business days containing links to the slides, the recording of the session, and any additional information requested throughout the webinar. Now, let me turn it over to Chris for a brief word from our sponsor, Informatica. Chris, hello and welcome.
Thank you. Nice to be here. Let me share my slides here. All right, so wanted to say a few words about just to kind of set the stage, talk about how Informatica views AI and data today. I think I'm just going to start with a very basic data delivery chain and looking at today's context of AI. So at every step of the way, as you can see, where AI can help. So from moving data, ETL, ELT, especially unstructured data, being able to orchestrate that, have some automation around that orchestration. This is where agents start to come in, and agentic AI, being able to clean, protect, and find, right? And that's where Informatica focuses a lot, is being able to understand the basis of what's in your data, how good of a quality is it, what may be sensitive or confidential, and then being able to find your data. So that self-service piece that AI provides through natural language prompting, right? For example, so being able to use that interface to find data you're looking for and really give you that context so you could be sure that that's the data you want. And that data is going to be used, in the modern architecture with AI so widely, right? It's not just going to be people looking at dashboards anymore. They're going to want to be able to access data, get data, build a pipeline, and be able to get data basically how they want, when they want it. And that's Informatica's approach to this is, metadata driven. So I want to be able to know enough about the data to be able to control and manage those AI services, if you will. And I want to be able to use agentic AI copilots to be able to accelerate that, right? So copilots become that user helper. They don't need to know. You don't need a UI necessarily anymore. You don't need to know the steps. There's no user guide. That copilot guides you through it. Our approach at Informatica is to do this with IDMC, our Intelligent Data Management Cloud, a SaaS-based approach. So I leverage the value of the cloud. I can do automatic scaling, serverless scaling. I can reach into, through a secure agent approach, reach into your on-prem databases, other clouds, really not really caring where that data sits, which is key for a successful AI program. We look at AI in terms of 3 principles: relevant, responsible, robust. Relevance kind of obvious. We need to be able to have that accurate, transparent, like where did it come from? What is in it? That's key. I need to get the data. I need to get recent data. I need to be assured it's the data I want. And that has to be responsible. So not everybody should see every piece of data. If I'm in marketing, I shouldn't see finance data. If I'm in marketing, I may not need the customer detail. So being able to control that and set standards for that and really use your governance rules to power that. And then robust AI is really being able to, make sure that I'm resilient. I can scale it. I can scale up, scale down on demand. I should be able to make that AI as powerful and reliable as possible. People don't want to worry about that ChatGPT prompt being down, right? And you can see at the bottom various ways our customers have thought about that. Takeda is a good one in particular. Like, they need to get therapies to patients, so patient outcomes are very important. That means a focus on, that chain I showed the previous slide, access, governance, quality, and trust become essential. We look at this through 3 tools. We call our AI capabilities Claire, but basically any platform, any program is going to want to be able to support some kind of co-pilot, that in context intelligence, right? I want to be able to create pipelines, automate rules, automate quality, etc. And then I need to be able to get to the data. I want to be able to explore it, discover it, be able to trust it, understand that quality score, that accuracy score. Are other people using it? That's key from that GPT interface. And then now until 2025, everything's about agents. So stringing together these services into these agents and having them be able to really kind of deliver that next level of productivity in data management. So finally, just a few examples of impact. Just highlight a couple real quick. So, Sanofi is a particular one. They fast-tracked their marketing campaign launches. They reduced development timelines from 15 months to 3 months. And they were integrating various disparate systems using our cloud application integration. So taking data from different systems, not making the users worry about where the data is or how to get it, but being able to present that data in the way that the users wanted it. Paycor is another good one around, they have a lot of demand at their company around trusted data. They need to do reporting. So they partnered with us, and Snowflake. And what we were going after was generating insights, right? So analytics are all about insights, not just about presenting data. So being able to get to the insight part of the data chain and really reduce those data wrangling times by as much as 90%. Just a quick overview of how Informatica is playing in the AI space and our thoughts on principles. I will hand it now over to William.
Chris, thank you so much for
Thank you.
And Informatica seems to be doing some really cool stuff. If you have questions for Chris, feel free to put them in the Q&A panel, as he will be joining us in the Q&A at the end of the webinar today. And now let me introduce to you our speaker for this series, William McKnight. William has advised many of the world's best-known organizations. His strategies form information management plan for leading companies in numerous industries. He is a prolific author and a popular keynote speaker and trainer. He has performed dozens of benchmarks on leading database, data lake, streaming, and data integration products. And with that, I will give the floor to William to get his presentation started. William, hello and welcome.
Hello, and thank you, Shannon. And thank you also, Chris. It's always great to have Informatica aboard, and all the best with your transition there that you're going to be going through soon to Salesforce. Congratulations on that. Okay, so are you ready for AI? If you haven't taken some time just to get ready for it yourself, personally, I would advise that you do that and indulge in some content around that. But just get comfortable with AI because it's definitely here to stay. And it's very important to not only our lives, but our work lives and our enterprises. And this is the 78th installment of Advanced Analytics, or now we're calling it Analytics Architecture, because that's what I like to talk about is architecture. And architecture underlying AI involves a lot of data. And companies like Informatica and others that support that data for you. There have been lots of use cases this past year that I could call on. I've been starting to tag use cases as I hear them for about the past 6 months. And I did the same presentation last year, by the way, except it was called 2024. I didn't have as much to work with then. But now it was really a matter of curating through the many enterprise case studies out there and use cases to get us to this point where I could give a presentation on what's going on. I've picked a few that I think will have wide applicability. So I hope that you all, and I'm pretty sure that you all will find your way somewhere in these case studies that I'm going to be going through. Now, before I jump in, there's been sort of an undercurrent though out there that in this space that AI's, it's not important that you do it right now. Take your time. It's hard. And don't worry about it if you're not in production with it right now. And to that, I say that is wrong. I say that is a wrong attitude, because for your enterprise, I think AI adoption is very important. It's not a guarantor of success by any stretch, but it is going to be a requisite for success in very short order. And when I say not a guarantee of business success, on the face of it, I look back at a couple of the enterprises that I chose to talk about last year, and they're struggling. So it's not just that you're doing AI and you're doing a great job at AI. What you do, how well you do it otherwise, those things are all obviously very important to business success. But I will reiterate, I think AI use is very important to the bottom line. Now, what's big and different this year is Gen AI is all baked in now. I don't have to convince anybody about the importance of Gen AI. It's all baked in. I've got several case studies to share with you about Gen AI. But what is new is agentic AI. I didn't have any case studies to share with you last year about agentic AI in production doing wonderful things. I do this year. And I believe that if I do this again next year, that it will be replete with agentic AI. That is how hard and fast that method of AI is coming on board. So the game now seems to be, let's get our businesses ahead of the competition with AI and create a moat with AI. And that is what some of these have done. These are some logos that we work with. We are a vendor agnostic consultancy. We're experts on the things that you see there. And I'm happy to talk to you about any of those. These are all technologies that are important to the analytic architecture. Now, some realities. The AI market. It's expected, this is from some research by Grandview Research. It's expected to reach over 1.8 trillion by 2030. I think some of these are understated, and I'm not a financial analyst, but I do think that it's going to eclipse that. Staff productivity is increasing due to the technology. Yes. As a matter of fact, a Harvard study found that management consultants who incorporated AI tools into their work were more productive, completing tasks 25% more quickly, and an average of 12% more tasks in total, and with over 40% higher quality compared to a control group. Most businesses are expecting that AI implementation will drive sales growth, and indeed it has in some of the cases that we'll see here today. The current talent pool is insufficient and highly valued. I've talked otherwise about some of the new roles that are taking over in terms of being the premier roles in this market. And I have observed that many enterprises have those roles, but maybe not have them well formulated and maybe not have them dedicated yet, but that is coming. GDP is expected to grow in the next few years as a result of AI. Goldman Sachs estimates that Gen AI, has the potential to raise the global GDP by 7% over the next 10 years. And again, I'm going to say I think that's probably understated. Policies for AI ethics and biases are largely undeveloped. Yes, that is a reality that we'll have to deal with. These are some more. Most predictive models are never implemented in production. That's right. So if that's you, if you've been building models and they haven't seen the light of day in production, you're not alone. Projects also take longer than expected. 5 months is the average. Now, I think that's going to come way down with agentic AI to maybe a month or hardly any time to develop, test, validate, deploy, and scale an analytical model. Data is still the challenging part of this. I think a lot of organizations forged ahead with with AI, and didn't get their data foundation up to the point where it's ready to support AI. And so the organizations that we'll see here today had their data act together, at least to the point of a maturity where AI could take advantage of that. Projects are still poorly run. This is my observation. and without great goals. So project management remains of utmost importance in this field. Okay, in the last 12 months, since I presented this a year ago, as I mentioned, agentic AI has come on. AI agents with autonomously taking actions and completing complex tasks across workflows, such as simulating product launches and orchestrating marketing campaigns. I dare say that a majority, if not all, of the use cases that I'm going to be talking about here today could be, and I think the majority of them will be, possible through agentic AI a year from now. So definitely have a strategy for that. AI has now enhanced intelligence and reasoning capabilities, multimodal. It's not just text anymore. Never really was, but it really isn't now, with all other forms of data being brought to bear on AI. Industry specific, especially around the agentic world. Increased transparency, maybe not enough, but a lot of increased transparency happening in the models, hardware innovation, staff acceptance. This is interesting. I think that we are adopting more organizational change management to go with our AI, and that is going a long way at getting the people acceptance, the staff acceptance, and even our customers and our supply chain partners and everybody else that we deal with our AI. And it's good. It's been a good year at getting people up to speed on AI and getting some acceptance. It's nowhere near where it will be. It's nowhere near where it needs to be for some of you for the success of your projects, but it has increased. The categories of implementation haven't changed much. The categories I'm going to be sharing with you here today are I think the big categories of AI in the enterprise. Again, I have accessible use cases for you, relatable, and I'm trying to help you find a way to be excited about AI and to just generate some ideas about where AI can be deployed in your organization. But the categories haven't changed much since last year. There's some new ones. Some have maybe become a little less interesting, but for the most part, it's the ones you're going to see here today. Ground rules for inclusion now for these use cases. They must be in production. They must be in enterprise. I'm not looking at the great uses of AI in stuff like VO3 or what Hollywood is doing or game coding or flying taxis. I'm looking at real enterprises. Okay, banks, hospitals, manufacturers, retailers, etc. Enterprise must be named. So we could put a name to a face with these cases. I picked ones that would be idea generating for you. So not all the esoteric ones that I had to frankly dip into a little bit last year, but ones that I think are really going to stimulate some real AI out there for you. Now, I can't 100% guarantee that all of these were done with real AI. Did you hear about Builder.ai? It collapsed as a company after it was exposed for passing off human written code as AI generated. So it was actually taking in requirements and passing them off to a bunch of programmers who happened to be in India, could have been anywhere, but they were developing the code for the solution, and it was kind of being washed as AI. I hope that's not true for any of these here today. I really don't think so. I picked the best out there. In a lot of ways, you can think of these use cases as being effectively award winners. And some are award winners in other awards. I didn't run it like an award, that is, but I believe that for these categories, that these are some great uses of AI. I have some connection to these use cases. No, we didn't. My firm did not do them all. We did one. I advised on another. But for the most part, I take in briefings all the time, and vendors are always putting forward their use cases to me and other analysts. And I have noted many of them along the way. So these are ones that vendors are for the most part, putting out there and putting names to faces and so forth. I am not going to talk about the vendors behind these implementations. I just don't have time for it today. But you might say, well, William, there's a lot of use cases out there. Yes, there are, but how many are curated around these bullets, which you should care about, except the last one? Okay, let's get into the use cases. Categories of AI implementations and use cases. I've got, I think, 10 categories for you today. And on these first slides for the category, I will give you the 101 of the category. And these are the things that everybody, well, in that business, in the business of drug discovery, that is for this first one, are trying to do with AI. Speaking of drug discovery, artificial intelligence is revolutionizing the drug discovery process by accelerating the identification of potential candidates, improving accuracy, and streamlining data analysis. And by analyzing all this data, this genomic data, chemical data, clinical data, AI is identifying patterns and insights that might be missed by other traditional methods. This enables the prediction of drug efficacy and safety, reducing the risk of costly failures in clinical trials. Additionally, AI can identify potential drug targets, generate new molecular structures, and screen virtual libraries of compounds to identify potential hits. Overall, it's just transforming the drug discovery landscape. And I know we're not all in drug discovery. I have one client in drug discovery, and it's fascinating. But just know that if you're doing deep research, AI is there for you now. Here's an example. Atomwise, they're out of San Francisco. This is an example of agentic AI. And they, I will call out something special about all of these. They are using convolutional neural networks, which are a type of deep learning model designed to process data for grid-like topology, like images. It's pretty effective for image classification. And they're doing a lot of that in drug discovery. And it helps them identify potential drug candidates and reduces the time and costs associated with traditional drug discovery methods. It's improving their hit rates, increasing the likelihood of identifying high-quality hits, reducing the need for extensive experimental screening. So more hits than misses for Atomwise as a result of using AI. Okay, the next category is financial research. Financial research. And I know this slide's a bit of an eyesore, but I couldn't take anything off. These are the things that, if you're in the financial field, that you're doing now with AI. And I think that, in my view anyway, the area of finance is probably the leading industry in the use of AI right now, because it's doing so much. It's transforming the financial industry by unlocking insights from vast amounts of data, predicting market movements, and optimizing investment decisions. Now, I did not find anybody that would say, hey, our investment portfolio is up an extra, whatever, 10% as a result of going with AI. But it's probably true, and it's probably more of a closely guarded number for these firms. I believe it's probably there, because how can deeper analysis like this go wrong in terms of helping a portfolio? And so, again, these financial institutions, they are creating their moat with AI. They're analyzing financial news and reports, identifying potential risks and opportunities, and making data-driven decisions. Who else? Here's a couple more that I'll offer. Bloomberg. We know about Bloomberg. This is an example of generative AI. They have integrated AI-powered earnings call summaries into its terminal platform, enhancing the efficiency of financial analysts and investors. So Moody's, something similar, you might say. Their AI-powered research assistant can help analysts research companies, industries, and market trends by doing, again, that deep research that we saw with drug discovery as well. And this is all leading into the financial decisions, the investment decisions that Moody's does. Which leads me to a cartoon that I think is so relevant today. AI turns this single bullet point into a long email I could pretend I wrote. And on the other side, AI makes a single bullet point out of this long email I could pretend I read. Isn't that the case? Isn't that the truth today? Okay, moving on to the next category, automated customer service. For better or for worse, automated customer service, chatbots and virtual assistants. We've all experienced chatbots and virtual assistants. Sometimes they're very frustrating, right? But they're here to stay. For better or for worse, I think they'll get better. And it has led to increased engagement and conversion rates. The integration of generative AI is not just an option, but a strategic imperative for businesses. By leveraging these tools strategically, businesses can position themselves at the forefront of innovation, efficiency, and sustainability. So chatbots, conversational AI, these chatbots are dipping into company data and other data through RAG techniques, data available in the LLMs as well, right? To be just that much more conversational with us. And frankly, sometimes I do appreciate the chatbot versus what I know the alternative would be, which is a long wait for a person. So it is what it is. And here's a couple examples. Brinks Home. Brinks, of course, the security company. And we're talking here more or less about their direct to consumer, their DTC program. They claim a boosted average DTC package size and increasing customer acquisition cost and competitive pressure. Under increasing customer acquisition costs and competitive pressure, they have significantly increased the average DTC package size and revenue. And this one I just find really interesting. Aspecta is a GRC, a government risk and compliance company based in Europe. And they have AI and compliance software that basically it looks at all documents being created and created by an organization as they're created and analyzes them for adherence to regulations and compliance. So it's improving efficiency and reducing the likelihood of a failure in this regard. So I think something like that, if there's going to be more regulation and things of that nature, there's going to be more things like this. So, and it uses great AI to do that. There's also Zurich Insurance, and I could have picked from quite a few here for this one because a lot of insurance companies and other types of companies that deal with the public, right? They have these chatbots. Their one is called Zara, and it understands 12 languages and converses on multiple forums, web, mobile, and social, built using Microsoft Azure AI. It's Zurich, and if you're not familiar with them, a global insurer based in Switzerland. They launched their chatbot back in 2017, but it's become smarter over the years, as we would hope, and it helps customers get quotes, file claims, and learn about their insurance products. And they claim, and this is what I like about them because they put some numbers out, 20% increase in customer engagement, 80% resolution rate for policy inquiries. Okay, no human involved. 4 times return on investment within 1 year. And if you're talking return on investment, you are talking bottom line cash flow. So they feel like they've saved labor. They feel like they have upsized customers. They feel like they have retained customers and got new customers as a result of Zara. Next category is predictive maintenance in manufacturing. Yes. And some of us, at least, I'll say me, in the early days of learning about predictive maintenance, it watches parts and looks for something on that part that might indicate it's time to replace it. And of course that's the core of it. But there's so much more. AI algorithms in predictive maintenance, they can develop maintenance plans, which increases production uptime. They can optimize that asset and performance. And some of them use a digital twin, which I find very interesting, which is a shrinkage or an abstraction of something else. And in manufacturing, There are digital twins of machines, assembly lines, and entire factories for optimization and troubleshooting. So with that, they can perform AI and create these virtual replicas for testing maintenance scenarios. So testing out maybe some of the strategy that comes out of AI. While I'm on the subject of digital twins, in healthcare, they're using digital twins as well. Digital twins, obviously, they're of patients for personalized medicine and treatment plans. And there's this company that might be worth your attention, Xiaomi. They have their dark factory. It's a cutting edge, fully autonomous manufacturing facility that produces smartphones in China without human intervention. Without human intervention. 81,000 square meter facility operating 24/7, leveraging artificial intelligence and robotics to provide unparalleled efficiency. Yeah, I'd say without human intervention is unparalleled efficiency. Okay, here's a couple examples. Predictive maintenance in manufacturing. GE monitors aircraft engines. Now, a Boeing 747, as an example, contains over 6 million individual parts. An aircraft engine alone can have between 20,000 and 40,000 parts. Now, is there a sensor on all of these parts? Obviously not. But there are plenty of sensors on an airplane, and they are monitoring things like, in various areas, vibration, temperature, pressure, humidity, oil quality, and other things. And the combination of the readouts, and on obviously a real-time basis, can indicate more or less which parts might be failing. There's also Rockwell Automation, which uses AI to streamline their manufacturing, and they analyze sensor data to predict equipment failures and recommend preventative maintenance. I recall one time I bid on a project in China, and we didn't win the project, but all the project was to do was, I say all, it was to use AI to look at a flame. And this flame was very important because it powered the entire city. And we were going to look at the dynamics of the flame, the wick, etc., to make sure it wasn't going to go out and the city would crash. So things like that. So yeah, you can use AI to monitor and get ahead of failures now. Great stuff. Fraud detection in finance, another huge area of AI. This is my second area, I think, of AI in finance. Again, suggesting that finance is doing a lot of things here. AI systems in this area analyze transaction patterns to identify and prevent fraudulent activities in real time. Now, fraudulent activities are becoming more and more difficult to determine, at least by human intervention. But largely with AI, these finance companies are ahead of the game and keeping fraud at an all-time low and continuing to go down through machine learning anomaly detection, real-time risk assessment and transaction authorization, network analysis, and AI-powered identity verification. We'll come back to that in a minute. Fraudsters are constantly evolving their tactics, though. An AI fraud detection system can learn and adapt to new fraud patterns. And many of the fraud patterns that of today happen worldwide, with multiple people attacking a system at the same time in the same sort of way, and hoping to double dip in the withdrawal or whatever it is that they're doing. Such solutions like AI and fraud detection can be quite handy across various finance domains, as you might imagine, like banking and e-commerce and so forth. JP Morgan Chase, who is it? Jamie Dimon was at Databricks yesterday and talked a lot about what they're doing with AI. So it's this and more. They're a great example of AI. They employ over 200 data scientists and machine learning engineers focusing on enhancing security measures and fraud detection capabilities. They use it to detect fraudulent activities, assess credit risk, and manage market volatility. Pretty much everything I had on the prior slide at a very high degree. They recognize the transformative power of AI and is investing heavily in this technology to drive their growth, mitigate risk, and enhance their overall business operations. Couple others here, and all right, I'll go ahead and show you this video since it popped up. It popped up first for me. Didn't mean that. Okay, so look at this. This is Entrust. I'm going to move to right about there. Okay, so this is Entrust. Watch this.
Our next generation technology means that just a simple head turn gets your customers verified in seconds.
Okay, so yeah, that's what they do. And I will, okay, I'm going to have to, never mind that. Oops.
Motion's 100% automation accelerates customer.
All right, enough of that.
Motion's 100% automation.
We have seen it.
Level 2 compliant liveness technology, protecting your business.
Okay, the perils of live. All right. I trust I'm still sharing okay. Shannon, jump in if I'm not sharing okay. All right, good. Okay, so on Fido or Entrust, as they are now, they analyze documents for authenticity and extract relevant information. Users will take a selfie, as we just saw, which they compare to the photo on the ID document to confirm identity. And the reason I share this with you is this is what's possible in the enterprise. This is what's obviously authorization, authentication, such a pain, and really not foolproof. But something like this can definitely help a lot of enterprise applications.
Your customers expect that.
And we're done with that. Okay, let's move on. Okay, not that much move on. Okay. That much move on. Okay, personalized marketing. Yes, and for better or for worse, right? AI is revolutionizing the way businesses interact with customers by enabling highly personalized marketing. And some of us like this, some of us find it creepy. But the creepy is going down over time as we get used to the conveniences and as we also get used to the intrusion that is happening. There are various laws that are sort of around this area, like, for example, product pricing and price discrimination, charging different prices for the same product based on factors like location, age, or income. Now, this can all be considered by AI. AI can keep you out of compliance problems and still have a personalized pricing strategy that it can offer to your customers. And there are antitrust laws as well. I don't know why I'm talking about the laws and the guardrails around this, but it is actually pretty important. Dynamic pricing practices must not create unfair competition or monopolies. That's what it says. But that is what AI is doing here quite a bit in the personalized marketing area for retailers, anybody really selling to the public, and even some B2B. Okay. And there's some specific regulation if you want to look into it more. Robinson-Patman Act, which prohibits price discrimination that harms competition. So anyway, when we did this, we had to take all this into consideration, and it almost overwhelmed the actual project. But companies are doing it. Like, for example, Spotify. Spotify is, and I'm like a top 1% user of Spotify for sure. Just love it. It's a petri dish for AI. And there are popular features that they offer now, like Discover Weekly and Release Radar. You know what I'm talking about if you're on Spotify, that are curated music lists. One thing that's a little creepy that I'm not sure I like is some Spotify playlists seem like it's all AI music with fake artists. And I believe that it is. Now, they already pay the artists peanuts, right? So, but now I guess they can keep their peanuts if they go far with that strategy. We will see. But anyway, Spotify, if you use it, you know it can be quite highly personalized. Another company that can be personalized that I'm not a customer of is Starbucks. And they have what they call Deep Brew, which uses machine learning algorithms to analyze customer behavior, sales patterns, and market trends, which enable them to make data-driven decisions and keep them at the top of their game with personalized experiences, including targeted promotions, offers, and menu recommendations. This all enhances the customer experience and improves operational efficiency. And it's all based on data-driven decision-making and AI-driven decision-making, menu optimization, and on, really. Staff planning, store layout, motif, menu, all of that is driven by analytics at Starbucks. Supply chain and inventory management, all these things. If you have a supply chain, you do these things, but do you do them well? Do you do them at current level? You don't if you don't use AI. So what many companies are doing with the supply chain is they are upgrading their supply chain to use AI, because AI improves logistics by predicting demand, optimizing inventory, and identifying efficient delivery routes and mechanisms. It also anticipates fluctuations, optimizes stock levels, and determines efficient routes, right? AI also identifies unusual supply chain patterns, assesses risk, and optimizes the chain structure. So it analyzes market trends and competitor pricing for optimal pricing strategies. So what products should be shipped, what products should be stored, how many products can be stored at a location, what kind of temperature do they need, what kind of space do they need, blah, blah, blah. There's so much involved here that it's been quite overwhelming. And as much as we think we've got just in time going, we have not seen just in time like we will with AI. And also in this category, think about like what Amazon is doing with robot logistics in their warehouses, and so many other forms of warehouses taking over the supply chain. One example here is Nordstrom. They have their Nordstrom analytical platform for inventory control and order routing. Their usage of AI showcases its capability to enhance the supply chain efficiency and offer personalized customer experiences. So they analyze sales data, customer behavior, and external factors like weather and economic trends. They have external links that are brought into the AI in sort of a RAG fashion. By analyzing real-time sales data and inventory levels, AI helps determine optimal product placement across different stores and distribution centers. Yes, that is not happenstance when you go to a Nordstrom or an H&M. H&M also a big user of AI to analyze historical sales data, market trends, and external factors to predict customer demand. And AI-driven forecasts help minimize overstocking, reduce waste, and ensure high demand items are in stock and right at your eye level. Not down at the floor level, but right at your eye level. That whether something is at eye level or not in a store is very important to the retailer. It's also important in a web-based example where what is shown to you where your eyeballs tend to be, first and foremost, is very important as well. Now, let's move on to another significant area of AI, an area that I think probably has a huge gap still to the possibilities that are out there today, and that's healthcare for diagnosis and treatment. Okay, perhaps some of us experienced the new healthcare with AI involved. The healthcare field is vast and complex, and AI solutions can transform the delivery of medical services by leveraging AI. Apps with AI technology enhance patient care, diagnosis, and treatment, and connect users with appropriate healthcare providers faster. AI is already doing a lot of the triage, if you will, when you want to tap into the healthcare system. X-ray analysis as well, X-rays, and any sort of review, I guess, of charts and things of that nature can be done with AI and are being done with AI. Like at Moderna, Well, now Moderna's not a B2C, but they're doing drug discovery. They came to my attention, and probably yours as well, when they developed the COVID-19 vaccine some years ago. Their use of AI in drug discovery accelerated therapeutic development. AI analyzes genetic and protein data, identifies drug targets, optimizes mRNA therapeutic design, predicts vaccine efficacy, optimizes manufacturing and distribution processes, and aids in patient recruitment and trial design. All that, those are all the things really that they do as a company. AI in healthcare, also Freenome, I want to put out there for you as an example. This startup uses AI to detect cancer with 93% sensitivity, beating out the current pancreatic cancer tests. So they do cancer diagnosis, tailored treatments based upon individual genetic makeup. You know, there's a very, I've had somebody go through cancer, so I know there's a very limited set of things that that are offered today, but there's more and more customization being offered in that treatment, and it's thanks to AI and companies like Freenome and what they're doing. The next category is cybersecurity and risk management. And by the way, as we come up to the end of the presentation here, feel free to get your last second questions into the Q&A. Chris and I will be up for that in a few minutes. This is the last category, cybersecurity and risk management. Yeah, stuff like threat detection, identifying potential threats in real time, enabling swift action to prevent attacks. So what should you do as a result of an attack? Sometimes it's obvious, sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's nuanced. Sometimes there are options depending upon the parameters of the threat, parameters of the invasion, right? Incident response, quickly responding to security incidents, minimizing damage and downtime. And a lot of this is after the fact, right? After something has happened. But what about risk assessment and management? Continuously assessing and mitigating risks, ensuring proactive security measures. So cutting things off before they become a real incident to the company, identifying that. Identity and access management is wrapped up in here as well, enhancing identity verification, access control, and authentication. Fraud detection, detecting and preventing fraudulent activities, reducing financial losses as a result, and also reputation. Security operations center automation, just automating the security operations, streamlining processes, and improving the efficiency of your cybersecurity processes, like Netflix. Employing AI systems that help monitor their systems, detect inefficiencies, identify looming threats, and prevent potential disruptions. They employ AI to monitor systems, detect inefficiencies, yeah, what I said, and their algorithms monitor network traffic, user behavior, and system logs to detect security breaches, fraudulent activities, intellectual property protection, and incident response. And we all know about Netflix. We all know about Uber as well. I'm going to put them out there as well as a company doing things with AI that we should be aware of. Their algorithms analyze vast amounts of data to identify fraudulent rides, payments, and driver accounts. Here's a quick little story. I was in Las Vegas last month, and I took a Lyft from my hotel to the airport. Now, apparently, this is a well-worn path for Uber and Lyft, and I got in the Lyft, and this other guy who I didn't know also got in the car. And I thought, well, let me tell him that, no, this is my Lyft. But before I could, the driver turned around and said, I work for both Uber and Lyft, and I just double dip people from the hotel to the airport because it's a frequently taken route, and nobody seems to care. So did I care? No, I didn't care. Off we went to the airport. Now that's a fraud that maybe AI could detect. It would require Uber and Lyft to come together and share data. So I don't know if that's a priority for them right now. But For Uber, priority right now is to analyze data to identify fraudulent transactions, assess potential risks, and automate incident response tasks. Yeah, all the things I said that happens in this category, they do it, ensuring safety and monitoring for emerging threats in real time. So both Netflix and Uber understand the critical role of AI in safeguarding their platforms and protecting user data. Hopefully you do as well. By investing in these advanced security technologies, these companies aim to maintain trust and ensure business continuity. All right. And in summary, I've given you some categories here of high levels of AI implementation right now in production. And these categories didn't change much from last year. I anticipate they'll still be going strong a year from now. We'll see what else maybe. But the AI market is growing fast. And key trends and developments in AI include the growing importance of agentic AI, enhanced intelligence, and industry-specific applications. I think that's all what we'll see more of in the next year. So in review, the categories of AI implementations, to know that it's already happening in production in big ways: drug discovery, financial research, automated customer service, predictive maintenance, fraud detection, personalized marketing, supply chain, diagnosis and treatment. Now, I didn't talk about this, but it's an important category as well: content creation and management of that content, and finally, cybersecurity and risk management. And with that, I'll turn it back to Shannon to see if we have any questions.
William, thank you so much for another great presentation. If you have questions for William, feel free to put them in the Q&A panel. And just a reminder, to answer the most commonly asked questions, I will send a follow-up email by end of day Monday with links to the slides and links to the recording of this information, of this webinar. So diving in here, and Chris, we invite you to join too, to answer any of these questions. So do you think the issue with lack of production implementation is due to companies being risk averse to the unknown, or less understood AI world by senior execs?
Well, I'll jump in here and say that that is abating, and more is going to production, which is a theme of today. But it's still true. You know, it's still true in many places, and really organizations are not homogenous across the board. There are pockets that are going to be more risk adverse to AI, and I think a lot of it is, yes, as you pointed out, it's education of executives, getting their comfort up to speed, and another part of this is what I also pointed out, which is that it takes 5 months to develop a model today, and so many of them don't make it to production because they end up not being right. So smart organizations are going back to the drawing board and learning from the experience and staying on AI, knowing that it's a keeper, it's a competitive advantage, and we got to do it. And it's there to be done. And you know what? Failure is okay. It helps us learn as long as we learn from it. But some organizations at that point they're risk adverse, so they'll throw their hands up and they'll say, whoops, we had a failure here. I don't want to be part of that. Our heads get chopped off when that happens. So let's just not do it. And that is definitely slowing down in some organizations. I know for us at our firm going in, sometimes we have to deal with this issue of, hey, my colleague over there, they're not on board with AI, period. So we got to get them on board before this goes too far. So anyway, I do that. I do the organizational change management that's required. And I recommend we all do that. I gave a whole presentation on organizational change management with AI a few months ago. It's probably on YouTube. So check that out for more information on helping out this situation.
Yeah, I think just to add to that, I think what we see a lot is the lack of the connection to the business problem. So sometimes it's a solution looking for a problem, and the tech guys or particularly group is particularly interested in some piece of the AI puzzle, but they don't really connect it to business value. So there's a lot of experimentation and small projects going on in companies today. They don't always have the right sponsorship or the right business value proposition. And I think a lot of companies too are very concerned with not getting it wrong, and sometimes
Yeah.
that stretches out that cycle, right? Like the test improve cycle becomes just very, very burdensome. There's a lot of different ways around that. I think like in my slides, what we consider is, really focusing on, a particular benefit that you would get from an automation or a chatbot or a natural language prompting, or and ensuring that your data and governance processes support that. So you don't have to boil the ocean, you don't have to do it all, but can you identify a particular problem or domain to focus on? And ROI is elusive still. The ROI proposition on AI can be challenging, particularly if you don't have that kind of focused value proposition approach.
Indeed. Thank you both. So, you didn't really get to this particular point, William, the importance of quote unquote human in the middle approach to AI, ensuring that AI, particularly agentic AI, is being used to enhance and improve worker efficiency and workflows rather than replacing them. Any comments on that?
Well, I think it's true. I didn't get into too many, excuse me, tactics and techniques today. But if I were to, I would definitely add that. And I have in the past. It's definitely true today, and will be true for the foreseeable future, that humans need to be in the loop of this. We're not all going to be like that manufacturing facility in China that makes phones without human intervention, right? We're not going to be like that right away. So I definitely believe there's a human in the middle. I think we all need to adopt, though, to the new world, where we are conductors and organizers and managers of AI agents, as opposed to whatever else it is that we do. So let AI do its job and guide it towards the ROI that Chris so eloquently spoke about just a minute ago, because that is still what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, we see the same trends in healthcare and financial services where, if it, it's always was the promise of advanced analytics, right? Is, hey, give you more time to do the analytical piece and less time to do data wrangling and all that. And I think if AI can help people do the job that human intervention either has to do, because I'm not going to trust an AI model to make a patient treatment decision all on its own yet, for example, or can it really speed up the more tedious parts of the process and that whole data management flow? It can add a lot of value in speeding up that process, and not having to worry about not making a user or consumer worry about like where data is or what format's it in, or it's a PDF versus a table. Like, if AI can handle all of that data collection and wrangling for a person and for a human in the middle, then that's a big lift, right?
Absolutely. Okay, so we've got less than 2 minutes here, so I'm going to ask for your elevator pitch here, kind of are the use cases you provide for AI chatbots considered agentic AI? And what's the main advantage of using agentic AI versus just AI?
Yeah, I don't recall, and I'm not aware that they necessarily were agentic AI. I think they will be more so in the future. That's certainly an area where agentic AI is taking a focus. The biggest advantage to me of agentic AI is kind of like when enterprises used to, and they still do, buy pre-done applications. It's already pre-done. It's already got a lot of best practices in there. You can pick and choose and have it up and running. It is true AI, and it also, and being true AI, it's going to consider its environment much more so than any kind of homegrown AI. So it's going to know how to consider any data that it receives in making the decisions that it makes for you. And so that is tremendously helpful. Also, there are many marketplaces being developed now around AI agents, like Salesforce has one. And they have various agents in there that you can call on and they are beginning now to really work together pretty well. So there's a lot of advantages to it.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think the, being able to decompose your needs into agents and have those agents be repeatable and reusable and, follow kind of your standard promotion and testing processes is huge. And, you could have a chatbot with a bunch of agents behind it, and the chatbot is just kind of, managing the orchestration of the answers. We gave a demo in Informatica World around supply chain, which is a big case you talked about, William. And if I'm a supply chain analyst, understanding where my materials are coming from, and all of the possible impacts to that delivery, that on-time percentage, and the weather, and the airport late rates, and all that stuff, and that data exists, in PDFs and websites, and in my own data that I need to mine, and in LLMs, and pulling that all together through agent services behind the scenes into that chat interface is just a huge lift for supply chain analysts.
Well, perfect, Chris. Thank you so much. And thanks to both of you for this great Q&A and for these presentations. But I'm afraid that is all the time we have for this webinar. And thanks to all of our attendees for being so engaged in everything we do. We really appreciate it. Again, just a reminder, I will send a follow-up email by end of day Monday with links to the slides, links to the recording of this session. And thanks again to Informatica for sponsoring today's webinar and helping to make these webinars happen. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.